We're down to just former trustees.
Yeah, wait a minute, Gail. I'm just talking about elected officials.
Are we good?
Earhart.
Appreciate it.
The comments we just
Yes, ma'am.
send it to them. Send it to them.
Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she has a lot of work for down.
All right. Are we ready? Commissioners, have you taken your seats?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. The meeting of the Home Rule School District Charter Commission community meeting is now in session. We are scheduled to go. I have to take my own lesson here. We're scheduled to go to 3 o'clock. If speakers, if we end early, what we're trying to do is stay here individually and answer questions and engage you in conversation. And I'll have a few more welcoming remarks. We've started each of our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you will stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we hear from you, I want to acknowledge and thank my fellow commissioners, and we have found it very helpful so that you can get to know them, let them introduce themselves. So I'm going to start on my left, and make sure you have a mic, and I'm going to give special mic instructions. This is like going to school, and I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Hello, my name is Danae Gutierrez. I am the Commissioner for District 8, and I want to introduce you to my munchkin, Dorian, over here. So looking
He's running for office in 20 years.
My name is Benita Reese. I am a teacher-appointed commissioner. I am an employee of this district, District 6. I'm a resident of this city, and I look forward to coming up with a solution to help better our schools for the sake of our children.
I'm Shirley Eisen, Newsome, proud retired educator from Dallas Independent School District. I am the District 9 appointee of Trustee Bernadette Nuttall, and it is my privilege to serve on this commission as we move to make our schools worthy of our children.
Hello, my name is Ron Oliver. I'm a teacher in DISD. I'm an appointee by the teachers of Dallas, and I want to recognize a beautiful young lady up there, my daughter, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you. She's going to be running in 15 years.
Good afternoon. I'm D. Marcus Ranger, and I'm the commissioner from District 6. Our trustee is Joyce Foreman. I would like to say that the chair of this commission offered every individual commissioner the opportunity to chair the meeting. I asked that he chair the meeting, so he did give me the same opportunity as he has given every other commissioner, and I just wanted you to know that. But I just preferred, he's the chair, so I asked him to do the hearing.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerome Garza. Eric Cowan appointed me. I am here by virtue of being a parent, and Mr. Cowan represents the North Oak Cliff area.
Edwin Flores, I was appointed by Trustee Mike Morath, and I'm also a parent.
My name is Jeff Veazey, and I was appointed by Trustee Dan Mitch Kay from District 3, and I am a parent representative to the board. I have 3 boys, 2 are DISD graduates, and 1 will graduate this year. And I look forward, as we have through this whole process, really just appreciated how much this commission listens and how serious everyone is about improving the outcomes for DISD kids.
Good afternoon. My name is Lou Blackburn Jr. I am a parent of a kindergartner as well as a 3rd grader in DISD, and I look forward to hearing your input and getting your comments on how we can improve our schools and our school system.
I'm Julie Sandel. I'm one of the teacher appointees. I'm a high school teacher. I've been with DISD for 20 years. I've been at Hillcrest for 17 years. I live in East Dallas. My husband is a teacher at Woodrow. So we are very enmeshed with the district, and I'm very wanting to make it a lot better place.
Thank you, commissioners. So let me add my welcome. I'm Bob Weiss. My fellow commissioners asked and voted me to be chair. If you've been listening to the meetings, you know I'm going up a learning curve in the public space. And I value these meetings because we all agreed when we first formed that it was important to have these listening tours in each of the school districts. And we want to thank the school board for strongly recommending that we go out and make every opportunity to avail ourselves. So let me do some recognitions. We have so many esteemed people in the audience, but first I want to recognize Mr. and Mrs. Robert Price, a former school member. Mr. Price, oh, that's his daughter. I am sorry. His daughter, yes. Daughter, I stand corrected. And pardon me? Same name, Charmaine, right, my bad. But I want you to know we're sitting in an auditorium named after Mr. and Mrs. Price. And we need to say thank you for your years of service, and I understand you'll be addressing us today, and we look forward to hearing your comments. So we have a current trustee representing District 6, Joyce Foreman, if you'll raise your hand. We have current trustee Elizabeth Jones, if you will raise your hand. We have former trustee and friend Carla Ranger, if you'll raise your hand. Thank you. And Harriet, are you here? Oh, there you are. And we have Dr. Harriet Earhart, former trustee, if you'll raise your hand. And I hope they're not going to give us grades today. And we also have two other volunteer public servants. Larry Jones, if you'll raise your hand, on the park board. And Gail Terrell from this district, raise your hand, fellow park board members. And so each of you understand the value, and we appreciate your time commitment, and we are trying to do the same thing. So let me talk a little bit about how the meeting can run and how you can help us. So the mic. People will circulate with the mic. The meeting is being literally transcribed by a court reporter. We will try to get that turned around as quickly as possible, post it so that we can actually listen, not worry about taking notes per se, and then be able to think more broadly and deeply about what you've told us today. Comments are 3 minutes. This is a listening meeting. Listening is good. Listening is a prerequisite to learning. I've now called the commission inside my family, and I just said this out loud this morning, a learning community. We are a learning community of 15 people trying to find out what can be done to improve educational opportunity and outcomes for students of the DISD. So 3 minutes, and when you get the mic, I've been told, think of it, did I get this, as an ice cream cone. So you got to hold it like you're going to eat it, but don't. All right? It doesn't taste good. So, you want to just think of it that way. And why that's important, A, I have a slight hearing impairment, so if the more I hear you, the better I understand what you're saying. And two, for the sake of the court reporter, if you will be sure to state your name, we don't need your address, and then Mr. Harris, will you raise your hand? There's 3 minutes. If you go slightly over, we're fairly gentle. And I know we all respect and want to listen. Well, there is District 9, Ms. Nunnell. Trustee, raise your hand. Good to see you. And thank you for being here. Are you going to have a walking quorum if more trustees show up? Okay. And so we appreciate, again, each elected official service as well as all of you out in the community. So 3 minutes, use the mic. We want to hear as many of you as possible. If we're done before 3 o'clock, we'll try to stay. It's up to each of the commissioners to engage in conversation and be sure at the end to let you know how to reach us. So with that, is there someone who would like to speak first? First of all, did I miss anyone in the audience who I should have recognized? I apologize. Okay. Sir.
My name is Robert Price. I live at 5206 Woodsboro, Dallas 75241. Dallas does not need a home rule charter school district. Dallas needs excellent public schools throughout the district. There is no overwhelming evidence anywhere in the nation of a large number of excellent charter schools and home rule school districts. Dallas does have some excellent special public schools that can be replicated, such as the magnet schools, Rangel, Obama, and learning centers, and this institution, Kathleen Joy Gilliam Collegiate Academy. These public schools are outperforming charter schools across the nation. Home rule charter school district is an assault on democracy. Citizens are disenfranchised and will lose their right to elect trustees of their choice to the school board. Dallas citizens will discover they have an appointed school board under the old at-large system with board trustees not of their choice. Home rule can lead to the governance of the district by a mayor or person who has no proven record in public education. Diane Ravitch, a foremost authority on education in the United States and former Assistant Secretary of Education, indicates the problem with education in America is community poverty. She says 25% of students in public schools live below the poverty level. Many of them are homeless and also youngsters of people who cannot meet their financial needs. DISD can already do some of the implementation suggested by home rule advocates, such as expand the school day, expand the school year, reduce class sizes, improve parental involvement, and write curriculum. It is imperative that DISD provide monetary and personnel assistance to low-performing schools, especially to African American students. The district can perform better by doing whatever is required by the Texas Education Agency. DISD must follow the guidelines established by the Texas Education Agency. Dallas does not need a home rule charter school district. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To be recognized, if you'll just keep your hand up so we can see you, so that we can get the mic to you. Thank you.
I'm Hoseo Hickman. When I think about this home rule effort, I look at it retrospectively with respect to history. This country, from its inception, had laws which forbid people from teaching slaves how to read. They opposed the education of slaves, and that attitude is reflected throughout the history of this country. This movement toward home rule is one of the streams which flow out of this whole effort of privatizing public education. Ron Walters says in his book titled White Nationalism, Black Interest, chapter 8, he talks about Milton Friedman in 1955 beginning to talk about the privatization of public education. 1 year after the 1954 decision to end segregation in public education. In this state, in this city, it was 17 years after the 54 decision before some effort was made toward integration of public education in this city. This home rule law was passed in 1995. That legislation was a part of the legislation which gave us Senate Bill number 1, which was an effort to reorganize, to change student behavior, but also what it did was it created a legal basis for the school system to establish an administrative relationship with the juvenile justice system. And all the money that was paid by parents because of truancy or whatever the negative effects of poverty were upon their children, that law placed a financial burden on poor people. That law was passed in 1995, and the governor in 1995 was the former President George Bush. Perhaps he had plans for an international educational institute in Dallas after his retirement as president, because that's when it's coming up. That's this season that we're in. Privatization of public education is not good for this community. It is definitely not good for black people, brown people, and poor people, because in the long run, what we're going to see is more federal money going into higher public education. And then the question becomes, will charter schools prepare African American poor kids, black and white and brown? Will it prepare them to pass those tests that will qualify them for an inexpensive college education? And if we look at it historically, the answer is no. If we look at it historically, we see a lower birth rate among white children. And that has got to be some kind of a concern to which these kinds of changes will affect the interests of white nationalists in this country. So I say to you, this is a grand opportunity for us to establish effective public education in this city and be an example throughout the country. Thank you.
Thank you. We're trying to be flexible on the time, so the general rule has been 3 minutes, so we make sure that everybody is heard. Thank you for your comments, sir. Hand? Right here in the front. Pardon me? No, you're good. I'm the chair. I didn't cut you off. It's just a general reminder. We have a general rule. So, sir, thank you.
Yes, my name is Roscoe Smith. I was a teacher in the Dallas Independent School District, started in 1960-61 school year. Worked for the district for 35 years as a principal, director of federal programs, and went on to be assistant superintendent for instruction for the Benton Harbor, Michigan school system. I just want to say that I oppose this home rule school district charter. I oppose it, and I also work with a group of organizations that's called Stop the Takeover, in our community, in our schools, and other organizations. And all organizations that we work with, we all oppose this charter district. We want to say to you that we desire to help the Dallas Independent School District. We work, we volunteer at schools, work on the site-based decision-making, the Parent-Teachers Association. We just finished in May the 3rd on a Saturday working with the Dade Middle School with a program called a Summit for Parents. We try to work with parents. We do all we can. We say to you that that's what we all should be doing. Working with this school district, trying to help this school district do a better job with the boys and girls. Let me just say that what's about this whole charter that kind of bothers me, and that is you're not talking about education. What you're talking about is relaxing the laws, okay, that allow you to do certain things that are wrong. Taxation without representation. Fought for so many years to get that done, and I know what you say. You say, well, we don't have to, we can elect them, you know, but it's not what we can do. When you change the laws, when you relax them in such a way that would allow you to do it now or later on. You see, that's what's happening. It bothers us to have the thought that you could pay a teacher with a master's degree less than minimum wage. And you say, we're not going to do that. But what I'm saying to you, when you relax those laws that will allow you to do it, you're going to do it sooner or later. It is not fair, and it's not good for education. Listen, just let me say to you, expand our vision. Just look out and do and try to help this school district and help the parents and the children and the teachers do a better job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Am I missing a hand here? I'm sorry.
Hello, Lakota London. Okay, I'm glad he talked about taxation without representation because the truancy courts is the main issue. I mean, y'all made a lot of money off of truancy illegally, and something should be done. It don't need no charter school. It ain't gonna be no better, you know. I don't see it being any better than what it is. I said you do need parents to come in and check on their kids because if they don't, they're gonna get treated any kind of way. Best believe that. And one thing I do know is that everything is really a false advertisement deal because when you say you want children to come, parents to come in to check on their children, it's bogus. Because when I go check on my children, you know what they do? They make an announcement and say, Miss London is coming up to the classroom. So they get prepared when Miss London walk in the building. So I have a problem with that because evidently, everybody gonna make sure they on their toes when I walk in the building, which is crazy. So, I mean, if you're gonna talk about parents need to be in the building, which some do, it's a lie. It's false. Because I walk in my children's school every year, and when I walk in there, people panic. And what you panicking for is the question. You know, what are you panicking for? I mean from attendance. This year, the people didn't even know how to do attendance. I took my daughter to the doctor, and they get mad at me because I tell the lady she didn't know how to do the attendance. And I said, well, since you don't know how to do the attendance, then you don't need to be the attendance clerk no more. I had to call District 3 and get them to fix the attendance. I brought a doctor note. I mean, I didn't make the note. So I'm just saying, I don't want to be played with truancy, and there's parents being played with truancy. through people not really knowing how to do the attendance. You know, it's pretty serious because it makes no sense that, you know, kids are getting injured in the school. DISD don't want to pay. They say they plead sovereign immunity. I have a problem with that. If you hurt a kid, you pay for hurting that kid. I mean, you already hurt them emotionally. So, you know, you don't hurt children and then think it's fine. And so something has to be done because it's amazing. Y'all want to start up this bogus charter thing y'all doing right here. And it ain't going to be no better than what it is. Stop making money off of parents that are poor anyway. And all these judges that have ruled and took money, they need to be prosecuted too. They took money through truancy and it was illegal. Ask the U.S. Justice Department. It was illegal. They're being investigated right now. It was illegal. So the $2.9 million they made one year, the $2.8 they made the next year, need to be paid back to these parents because it was done illegally. So stop making all these programs that are bogus because it's a whole lot of them I'm looking at in DISD and they're bogus. And something has to be done to really help the children and stop hurting them and making them come home, you know, upset. I don't want to send my kids to school and then they come back home upset. That don't make any sense.
It looks like you have someone who also
Okay.
wants to speak.
Okay,
Thank you for
that's
your
it.
comment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Up in the back. Thank you, sir. Remember, a little like school, we got to just make sure we see the hand. There you go. Thank you.
So my name's Robertunninger, and I just want to give the perspective of somebody who thinks this could be a good thing. I hear this argument that we can do all this stuff without home rule, and my thought is if it's a good idea and we can do it, then let's do it. You know, if we don't need home rule to do something, then let's all come together and do these things. And I think part of the reason we haven't done them is something is getting in the way of us making good decisions, and I think part of that is the governance structure. We've left millions of dollars on the floor, on the table of free money for pre-K. Yet I watch board meetings and you argue for 5 hours about plumbing contracts. If we could have done these things, then I think we would have done them. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I have to be honest, I don't care about this charter. I don't care about home rule. I care about getting better educational outcomes for kids. And if we can do it without home rule, then let's all come together and do them. And I just want to challenge all of you that are against this. Instead of just saying, I don't want home rule, I don't want miles, I don't want TEI, to say what you do want. Because they can get it on the charter. These are the people that are going to write this charter. Say what you do want, and they'll put it on there. But all I hear so far is what I don't want. I don't want this, I don't want that. Let's all get together and say what we do want. And if we can do it through home rule, we can do it that way. If we can do it without home rule, then let's do it another way. You know, it doesn't matter. This is just a vehicle for doing good things. I don't want an appointed board, and I will tell them that. And so those are the things I just want to challenge you guys to say what you do want. And that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Sir.
My name is Will Marshall.
But just hold that up a little bit closer, thanks.
My name is Will Marshall, and I think home rule is really a precursor to privatizing and paying for our private schools with public money. That's what it comes down to. For instance, if you go to home rule, you pay with private money, the private money goes out, you have to save that school system. How are we going to do it? With public money. I think DISD should go to the state legislature and come up with a way that if they pass a bill making requirements on the school system, then they should be funded. We have a rainy day fund, but it never rains. And because of that, the school system suffers. I mean, DISD has an excellent curriculum in a lot of areas, but it's never fully funded. It's always shifting resources to where they're least needed in the better areas, and the least experienced teachers are put in the lower income areas. And we need funding. If you're going to make requirements, then you need to make sure it's funding. We don't need home rule. What you need is to fund what you already have and make it as best you can. The fact that we keep putting in requirements in the school system and you never have enough funding, then it can never come up to where it should be. We were supposed to improve the school districts with the event of the lottery, but when you put the lottery money into the fund and then you take the appropriated funds back out, then you're still level and you're never going to improve. That's what the ISD needs to be pursuing, to get the legislature to get off its conservative agendas and fund the schools like they should be funded. Thank you.
Before we go to the next speaker, I just want to recognize Commissioner Price for joining us. Thank you for coming, and we appreciate it. For those who have just arrived, we're trying to stick to a 3-minute rule. We will try to get through everybody and stay. Oh, I'm sorry, Mama. I apologize. Thank you for being here, Judge. Between my eyes and I'm hearing, I'm not sure why I'm here. So again, we thank all our elected officials for their public service, and as you can appreciate, we're learning to do better at this as volunteers. So again, 3 minutes for the newcomers. If we're done early, we will try to stay and engage in conversation. Did someone else have their hand up that I missed? Again, keep it high. You can see between my eyesight and my hearing, I'm doing the best I can. And did anyone... Did I miss someone? Are we all looking? Commissioners, help me out here. Okay, well, we're just let everyone have one. Yeah, Commissioner Price, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. To the attendees, I do have a prepared statement, and again, I'll apologize for running a little late. The Home Rule District Charter Commission would do well to listen intently to those voices in this community who are in opposition to subrogating our rights as parents and taxpayers to new and uncharted strategies regarding our public education system. I want to begin by commending and thanking those not only in this community and members of this school board who have joined with the Dallas Independent School District Board trustees, Ms. Joyce Foreman, Ms. Bernadette Nuttall, because the struggle that persists for the takeover and outside control of public school has never been more imminent than at this moment. An in-depth story about PBS and its sudden lack of voice in this matter was written in Harper's Magazine article entitled PBS Self-Destructs. It said this: we've had public schools since 1820s, and we've never had a moment in history where the U.S. Department of Education and big philanthropists together wanted to replace our public education system with privately managed school. It's a whole new thing. And PBS doesn't seem to even be interested. Many of us in this community are engaged and quite interested in the outcome of your actions. And while we must continue to work to make our public schools better and have a strong system of checks and balances, which the current board is not ensuring, a charter district is not the answer. Checks and balances will be limited or non-existent with a charter district. There has never been a time when the integrity of our public school system was more vulnerable to outside attacks. We intend to be vociferous and active in making sure that all the children of Dallas have an equal and unfettered opportunity to receive a quality public education. Again, I applaud you for your service, but I want you to take seriously, and especially, unfortunately, the demographic makeup of this district. Education has always been the only portal by which those of us who have been historically locked out by a system have been able to rise. And with that, Mr. Chairman, members, I thank you. 3 minutes.
Thank you. There's two right here, both kind of raised simultaneously. We'll start in the back and work forward. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Tamara Coleman. I'm a senior here at Catherine Joy Gilliam Collegiate Academy. So I just wanted to keep it simple, nothing too fancy. I also want to say that I will be a result, even though this is still a school year that's still in session and we just got in school. I will have to face that fact, and the kids behind me that, you know, the new freshmen, the sophomore, the juniors, I see every day what we have to deal with in the school system. Schedules messed up, attendance messed up. They don't know how to correct it. As this lady was down here saying, people don't know how to take attendance correctly. Some teachers mark students absent, and they don't even know how to pronounce their name, or they're not here, or they mark present students absent, or they mark absent students present. And then the teachers at that. We have good teachers, but there are some teachers that we need better teachers. We don't need to just try to take this away. We don't need to we need improvement. We don't need to put something else in place. Just like Mr. Price said, we don't need no private run school system, because that's not how it works. It needs to be accessible to everybody. No people doesn't need to be singled out because you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't live here, you don't live here. What needs to happen is that the things that are wrong with the system, correct it. Find something and make it more efficient. If there's people in there making it, you know, just bringing it down, take those people out because they don't belong there in the first place. So get the people that's going to do the job right, that's not talk, and get somebody in the school system that's going to bring it up. Because I've been in DISD since 9th grade to now. And I was in DISD when I was in the 2nd and 3rd grade. And I've had to see what DISD goes through, and I have to live with DISD. So therefore, I do not, and just like this man said, even though that saying what you do not want, or we don't want this, well, I know what DISD doesn't need, and it's not this home rule charter system. It's not. It's not what we need. It's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Right here, thank you.
Well, actually, she took the words right out of my mouth. I'm Martha Parks. I'm a parent. I think that the problem is not the program. The problem is the implementation. And I think that if you had gone to all of these meetings, that's what you'd hear from every parent and most speakers, is that the programs we have, there's nothing wrong with them. But the way they're being implemented, a lot of the times, yes. The charter itself can't be so specific as to specify these particular programs that people want. We can't get that specific because the very process of the charter requires an amendment to change it. That is a long, expensive process. The charter is a framework, but the policies and the programs, they're not going to be that much different. They can't be. It just doesn't work that way. So like most of these speakers have been saying, what we need is to do what we're doing and do it better. Let's examine the programs we have. If they're effective, keep them. If they're not, let's get rid of them. But what we have does not need to be scrapped. We just need to work on it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
I want to speak as a parent. I have a daughter in DISD.
Do you want to just put your name on the record?
Bernadette Nuttall.
Thank
and that's
you.
one of the, I'm wearing the hat of a parent. I have, my husband and I have a daughter in the district, Olivia. She's in the 10th grade. She's been in the district since pre-K 4, started at Billy Earl Dade. And the young man said, what do we want? And speaking as a parent, what we want is less testing. As you know, we give a lot of testing. The state only requires us to take the STAR test, but we have the ACP test, and we have tons of testing. And we want less testing. We want smaller classrooms, class size. There's a particular class that my daughter's in, and she has 35, and it's AP English. So we would like smaller classrooms. We would like funding restored, Title I funding restored back to our principals. $200,000 were taken as Title I to help our students from a particular school. So we want Title I funding restored back to the schools. We want, as Olivia would say, better cafeteria food. That's the small stuff. We would like AP classes for all students across the district, as well as we would like our lawns manicured just like North Dallas lawns are manicured. Believe it or not, students notice those kind of things when they go to basketballs. And Olivia takes a note when she comes home to tell me, I thought y'all fixed this. That's her famous comment when she gets in the car. Mommy, I thought y'all fixed this. We want the district to follow the SBDM. By state law, we have to have the SBDM. And we want an SBDM at all campuses where parents can have a voice through the SBDM. So I recommend you to check your SBDM, and we would like that law to be followed. So as a parent with a 10th grader in the district, and I worked for the district and been in the district engaged, those are some of the things that we do want that can happen today. Thank you.
Thank you. Be careful reaching up over there.
Thank you. To the commission, our trustee, Ms. Foreman, Ms. Nuttall. My name is Jeffrey Muhammad, and I am against the home rule. I believe that all of the goals that have been proposed by the proponents of it can be accomplished as is. For the past 459 years, there's been an attack on the black man. Privatized education, which we believe this is where we're headed, is about money. And blacks and Hispanic children can be educated best, we believe, in the Nation of Islam by their own people. We lose the ability to choose those who represent us under this system. Charter schools will increase what we believe is a school-to-prison pipeline. Truancy was already mentioned. And this is another step towards a greater rate of incarceration of particularly young black men. We need strong black and Hispanic parents to stand up and say that we're tired of our children being force-fed this Eurocentric education. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, one of our scholars, did a study and said that by the time black boys reach 3rd grade, they're not really interested in school anymore. And it's mostly because of the way we have been portrayed in this system of education that is founded in white supremacy. That's it. So when we look at history, we should reject an education that says that when the Native Americans won, it was the massacre. And when the Pilgrims won, it was the great battle of this or that. See, we should look at evolution, since you want us to tell them what we want. I want change in curriculum. I want change in books. We can update a history book to say that Barack Obama is the 44th president very quick, but you won't mention the Million Man March where almost 2 million men, black men, gathered in Washington, D.C., in the greatest show of love and unity in the history of this country. Because you don't like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but you don't know another man who can do what he has done, black, white, red, brown, or yellow. He's a Muslim who called for black men, and 85% of the people that showed up were Christian. That means that he's being listened to by the people, regardless of his religion, you would do well to listen to the people here today. Listen to what the people are saying. We don't believe in evolution. We don't believe it can be proven. My 10th grade biology teacher, a white man named Mr. Duffel, told me that dark skin and dark eyes were dominant, light skin and light eyes were recessive. Why don't we teach in the schools that God created the black man first? And then from that man came all other human beings, including the white man. Why don't we teach that we are your mother and father, that we brought you out of the caves of hillsides in Europe and civilized you and gave you a place? Why don't we teach that everywhere you went, you found us? See, what I'm talking about is bringing a level of self-esteem and pride to black students where when we pick up the books in school, all we don't see is we were slaves in America. When we gave math and science to the world. Where our people weren't running around in Africa with bones in their nose. No, you saw our civilizations and you came back and picked us up and brought us here to build you one, and that's what we have done.
But we appreciate your comments. I'm just looking at the extra minute you're extending.
Oh, I apologize. I'm a preacher at heart, but I didn't. I'm used to doing 2-hour lectures. But thank you so much. We need a change in what we're being taught and how it's being taught.
We appreciate your comments. And again, I'm being flexible. I'm getting notes on the 3 minutes, and we appreciate everybody respecting each other's time. And again, if we're done, we said we'll be able to stay and visit one-on-one and get your comments. I also want to say, before we have another speaker, that we're going to try to have as many channels to get your communication. If you want to submit something in writing, there's an email address that we will provide. There's a phone. We are going to work hard to make sure whatever means you want to go on record, that we will listen and make it part of the public record and part of our public work. Is there a hand up that I missed? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I'm going to saw her first. Oh, okay. That's okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Janet Bridges. I'm a graduate of Bryan Adams High School, 1973. I have one of my fellow alums over here, Jeff Veazey. Hi, Jeff. I want to register my opposition to the Home Rule Charter District. Golly, there are several reasons. Number one, I believe in democracy. I believe in due process. It doesn't make any sense to me to overcome, for an unelected commission, while I respect you all, you're volunteering your time, and I appreciate that. It still doesn't make any sense for an unelected commission to overturn decades, I'm talking about decades of state law in, to do with, education state law. These are laws that were passed by elected representatives statewide, including from Dallas County, and I think it's undemocratic to do so. That's the first statement. I believe in public education. I don't think the system is broken. If our current system of public education was broken, that would mean that there are many districts across the state that are not successful, that are failures, and we know that there are districts across the state that do very well on quality measures for public education. So that tells me that it's not the system that's broken, because we know the system works in other districts across the state, high-performing districts. I'm asking you all to do the right thing, to listen to the people, and I can tell you that the people of this district are overwhelmingly opposed to Home Rule Charter. I mean, I've been out there on the streets talking to people. They are opposed to Home Rule Charter. So I'm asking you all to listen to what the people have to say and to consider that in going forward. There's an option. This commission doesn't have to do anything. You've done your duty. You've met. You did what the state law requires. you know, I would hope that this commission would make some recommendations as to how we can improve DISD and public education in DISD and make some contribution. The other thing is, if no contribution is made, then I just think all of this is just a waste of time. So I appreciate you all's service, and I would hope that you would make some recommendations to the board. We have an elected board. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go forward, another public official is, you want to raise your hand? Maeve Snyder, our state school board rep, who, raise your hand. Former. And again, thank you for being here. And we have valued your service. Right over here in the front. Right, yes, thank you, sir.
Hello. My name is Edward Turner. As many of y'all know, I am the education organizer for the Texas Organizing Project. I also serve as a co-chair of our community, our schools. But I'm taking that hat off and I'm talking to you as a concerned parent, somebody who graduated from James Madison High School, went to Phyllis Wheatley, Pearl C. Anderson, grew up in the inner city, you know, was fortunate enough to have mentors and go to college, get a bachelor's degree in finance and a master's degree in international business, and a person that said, you know, I'm never moving back to Dallas because I grew up there. I saw friends get killed. I saw relatives get killed. I've seen crack cocaine destroy families. That's the community that a lot of these kids are living in. And the reason I decided to become a community organizer because I moved back to Dallas and I saw my friends, people I went to school with, who did not make it out the ghetto, what their life was like. I saw what their kids' life was like. I saw with my own family members who did not get an education, what their life was like. So it's what I know, when I left Dallas, I was escaping poverty. That's what I was leaving. And the only way any of these children are going to be able to succeed in life is unless they have a quality education and unless we provide a system that's effective, that's going to give these kids the opportunity to dream. Having all these testing, all these test scores, you stuck to a test. The world is bigger than a test. You know what made me go to college? Nobody was talking about college when I was in high school. My youth pastor picked me up and took me on a college tour to see Howard, Hampton, Bowie State. Now my eyes opened up. The college is bigger than this. You know what made me want to dream to I wanted to have a nice house? Because one of my mentors took me off here off Loop 12, Northwest Highway, and the toll road, and you see these big old houses that's bigger than these schools. It's like, I can have that one day. Most of these kids don't not make it out. The only thing they see is South Dallas. They don't know that the world is bigger than that. They probably know now with the internet and everything, but unless they go physically see it, if we're not doing that in our schools, we're not taking our kids on field trips, if our kids are not going to General Motors and seeing how a car is built, how can they aspire to be an engineer? If they're not going to NASA and seeing how a space shuttle is done, I had the privilege to have an internship at NASA as a co-op at 19, and I'm from South Dallas. I've accomplished a lot. But other kids who did not, because they didn't get exposed to that. And the people in other affluent areas, they get exposed to these opportunities. So unless we are doing something, and at the end of the day, can nobody say home rule is all of a sudden going to get some kid aspiring to be a NASA? It's not going to happen. All of us, home rule is not going to make someone want to get more involved and want to dream big. It's not going to do that. It's just going to privatize the school district for somebody with their financial dreams to gain wealth from. So we need to make sure that we are doing the best we can do to keep our system in place and to come up with some better ideas, give our elected trustees some recommendations. Do not write a charter. Do not allow some political person in East Texas and West Texas to change some laws on some hard work that y'all doing, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to hold our district by hostage, and we don't need that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did I see a hand up back here? Oh, there you are. Yeah, thank you.
I left Austin this morning, so if I am redundant to what has already been said, just consider it.
Just be sure, name, and hold that close so we can hear you. Okay.
Just consider it that this is your 7th time to hear it, so maybe it will stick. I need to say that I am unequivocally opposed to a home rule charter school district.
Just your name for the record.
I'm sorry. Mavis Knight.
Thank you.
Home rule for me is a measure of a last resort. And I do not think that the Dallas Independent School District is at death's door and needs this measure of a last resort. What I would hope that you would ask yourselves is, under the existing structure, is there an inventory of programs within the Dallas Independent School District that could be expanded upon that would raise the academic achievement of students? And let me give you an example. We have the wonderful Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy, and we have the wonderful Irma Rangel Young Women's Leadership Academy. We also have the many programs at the Yvonne Ewell Townview Center that have been recognized nationally. The thing that I would hope that you would ask yourselves is, what is it about these programs, along with the quality instructors who are in those school systems, that we can extrapolate and apply to schools where students do not have to apply to become a part of the educational process, and that you can employ those strategies in the regular school systems. For example, I noticed with Barack, you have the houses that the young men are divided into. You have special assemblies that they attend. You have special mentors for these individuals. Why not try those at just the school where the only requirement for you to get in is your neighborhood zoning requirement? The children who need that kind of extra attention the most are the children who are in the regular neighborhood schools. So there are things that I think that you could do from other successful programs in the district that you could employ, and probably without a great deal of money, in the regular neighborhood school. I would think that you would also want to ask yourselves, what are the waivers that are currently available through the Texas Education Agency that you could apply for that will give you an additional bang for your academic buck by going through the waiver process as opposed to the home rule process? When you look at governance structures across the states, ask yourselves, is it something about that community itself that makes it workable in that community that does not necessarily guarantee that it will be workable in the district community? Okay. Do we have a time?
Yeah, we were doing 3 minutes. Just
where am I?
You're almost near 4 down here.
Okay. So what I would say to you again is be very deliberate in your examinations of questions and the programs within the Dallas Independent School District. And I must say one other thing about charters as I wrap it up. There is a place for charter schools without a question. But it was interesting to me that one of the first groups of people the mayor met with was charter school applicants. Look at the fact that charters can be selective in the students that they also enter during the open enrollment process that will leave many students in need out in the Dallas Independent School District.
Thank you very much. I'm being reminded that I'm 3 minutes has become the biblical 4 here. So, you know, if you can remember 3, we're trying to make sure you get your whole statement on the record. Did I see a hand up right here? Did I miss one over here? No? Okay, thank you. I need all the help. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, I'm Thelma Norman.
Could you just keep that?
Thelma
Yeah.
Norman. Okay. You hear
Yeah,
me?
put your mic near your
Okay,
mouth.
Thelma Norman, known as the Mother of Oak Cliff, founder of United of Oak Cliff, founder of Cliffwood Homeowners Association in Oak Cliff. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I work in a lot of hats, and I really would like for my opinion to go on record. I would like DISD to remain as is and just add skills and ideals and contributions of thoughts to increase things as they are. I'm opposed to the changes. United of Oak Cliff is opposed to it. Cliffwood Homeowners Association and all the other auxiliaries that I'm affiliated with. We do not want these kind of changes. It's like taking a dog that's in a pen outside and you do a dog run and you lock him up. You keep him locked up there, and you let him out every once in a while. He's isolated by himself, so he can't get educated. He doesn't have the exposure of being influenced or mixing with anybody else, so he don't know how to act when he get out. So you take that stuff that you people with all this money that's pushing this and take it and throw it out there in that dog pen. Please hear our cry. I thank you for all your work, all your effort, but leave DISD as it is and try to advance things. Thank you.
Thank you. And what was the time on that? And thank you for keeping it to 3 minutes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I think we've had a few more people come in, so we may have more speakers. You mind if we take a short recess?
How many? Yeah, let me see your hands because we're trying to commit to stay afterwards. Let me just get, this gentleman's been waiting. Yeah, if you need to, any commissioner needs to go, just, absent yourself. We'll, as long as we don't break our quorum. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Clifton Coleman, and let's see. We really don't need this home charter because actually in school board policy, if you wanted to make any school in DISD a charter school, all you needed was the parents at that school and the staff at that school to petition the school board for it, and the school board could approve it. So I was understand why do we need a home charter for the whole district when you can actually do that at a smaller number. And also to piggyback over what somebody else said was about the cherry picking. Yes, you can cherry pick when you're a charter school. You can leave out kids who misbehave. You can also leave out special needs kids because I don't know of any charter school that has a special ed department. Because there was a reporter that actually has a special needs student, and she actually tried to get her daughter enrolled in some charter schools, and they told her no. One school told her their special ed department was an empty room, a chair, and your child sitting there for 8 hours. So we really don't need a charter. And also, I've yet to hear anybody explain what are these mystery rules and laws that we need changed to force this. We have those laws to protect students and parents and staff. We can't expect to run a proper school when we're going to sit up and say, okay, let's become a home charter and pay teachers less than a McDonald's employee. Oh boy, I'm so nervous. And
you're doing great. Keep going.
Thank you. And also, when this all started, one thing I noticed, all the petitions were only in one certain sector of the city. If this is for everybody, why were all the petitions only in North Dallas? I didn't see you here in South Dallas, East Dallas, or West Dallas. I've yet to meet a person that said they had a petition presented to them to sign in these communities, and many folks who signed it said they didn't know what they were signing because it was never explained to them what this was actually for. Because the guy that wrote this pretty much said, I want charter schools. I want schools to have the option to be like that in New Orleans, where the entire city is straight charter. And they did that this year. And let me get off this mic. Thank you.
Thank you. And there you did in under 3 minutes. Thank you. For those, again, of those of you who came in and want to speak, we're trying to adhere to a 3-minute rule so we could get in as many speakers as possible this afternoon. How are we doing hand-wise? Commissioners, help me out if I'm missing anybody. Yes, okay, thank you, ma'am. Would someone get her a mic? Thank you. Welcome.
For the record, Nethel B. Jackson, live at 2851 Toluca, Dallas, Texas. I live in District 6, longtime supporter of the Dallas Independent School District. 2 of my kids went to the district and finished many years ago. So I stand in the behalf of Jason and Miranda. I'm, I guess, overwhelmed to come into this building because of my dear friend, Catherine Gilliam. I want to quote something what Miss Gilliam said some many years ago. You know, Miss Gilliam stayed on the board some 23 years. She used to tell me, she said, Nethel, what we need, money cannot buy. So it brings me to this point. Why are we running around here with this charter? Well, I'm going to let the people know in District 6, and I'm going to be very clear today. It was Mike Morath started this whole ordeal. Right. He went to Austin some 8 months ago. For the record, I want the record to show. He instituted this thing with John Honor, the mayor, and his other behind-scene friends to get 3 things. And I want to be clear, Shirley. It's about power, control, and money. And when you add all those things up, you heard so many people say, who will be left out of this whole charter school? Some 233 little campus here and there, some charter mess. I suggest to you, member of this board, please do not write anything. I was looking over some paper. I just retired, Shirley, some a month ago. I was looking out in the storage house, and I found some disagreements what we got out of court under Mike Mosey. Talks about the agreements that the 14 that the district were going to do. Well, the district have not, my dear friends, lived up to none of those things. Because when you put things on paper, that give these people an alibi to just go and say, well, we're going to do this, knowing full and well they are not going to do what they said. So I'm suggesting, as when we meet over this city, I wear this shirt. I am not for no home rule charter. I'm reminded of Charles Woodson when he said, if you control a man or a woman thinking, Marcus, you don't have to worry about his action. You don't have to worry about him going here and yonder. He talks about if there's no backdoor hosing, his present nature would demand one, and he will stay in it. So I say to you, of the 160,000 young kids that goes to this school system every day, do you know, my friends, only 7,700 is only white. The rest of this school system is made up of black and brown. Now, if you're going to sit and let these people control this school system, put this stuff on a balance, and take over our school system, there's something wrong with us. I'm reminded when I look at the 12 years of slavery as well, and Jamie Foxx talks about the Unchained. I suggest to you, this panel, y'all go and look at those movies, and you will see what within me. As Dr. Ewell said, and someone did mention Dr. Ewell's name, my friend. She went to the scripture. She said, where much is given, much is required. Well, we have been given so much. And the young people is looking at us. And we're going to mount our force to not let this home rule charter of these people take over this $1.3 billion.
Thank you very much.
And that's what it's about. Oh, yes,
right.
I could go on.
No, thank you.
I'm going to preach tomorrow.
I think we understand that. Yeah. Again, we're trying to be, yeah, you're next. Right behind you. We're just waiting to get a mic.
My name is Robert Delane Jones, Sr. I have 4 kids in the district. First of all, I want to thank y'all for the privilege of inviting the parents, the public out to talk to you guys. I think I got a personal problem. Well, I know I got a personal problem because I have a 6-year-old and a 16-year-old, and I'm trying to educate them with the school district because I don't believe that the school district can do the job by themselves. My experience is that it's bringing up a lot of, I guess, anger in me because I understand that this whole meeting right here is so that you guys can get suggestions from people like me to help you guys to submit something better than what we have. Going through that process, I'm looking at Mr. Flores, and he shut down my baby's school in 2012. I'm looking at Ms. Eisen Newsom. Tears come to my eyes because then my 4-year-old, he wasn't in school, and everything that Ms. Foreman and Ms. Carla Ranger said was going to happen is happening now, and it's even worse. And I see you smirking, and the same smirk I see in 2012. I'm also a veteran. I can't, well, my little boy, well, he's not a boy, he's 16, he's an ROTC, he want to be just like his daddy. He's watching television, what's going on in Afghanistan, what's going on in Iraq, what's going on in Syria. He's in the ROTC, they done gave him lieutenant stripes and all this. He comes and he wants to be a part of that. But his little brothers and sisters can't get an education right now in this district. Now, with that being said, I listen to Mr. Muhammad up there. That ain't nothing new. I'm looking at all us right here. We gotta fix this for these kids because there's a whole lot of brothers like me that's out there right now, and we trying to hold it back. I'm looking and I'm listening. All the trustees is here. I'm in District 8. I know that you and Mr. Solis and the mayor, all y'all buddies and whatnot. So I would like to see my trustee here, but he's not here. Okay. Suggestion, y'all, we gotta stop playing because there was an incident that happened this Tuesday at Hernandez School. There was racial profiling. What it was the assistant principal kicked 20 kids off the bus, and they was all black. My 2 babies and that 5-year-old that shouldn't be on the bus anyway, he got kicked off. And he didn't know why he was kicked off. And when the parent had to come and pick him up, the principal didn't know why he had kicked him off. But it just happened that the principal was Hispanic. I've been fortunate enough to have known Miss Kathleen Gilliam. And she taught me way back in 2009 when I began to start doing things like this. And I heard a speech by Barack Obama said that this time change is going to come from the bottom up instead of the top down. I made up my mind that I'm going to be a part of that, represent that change. Now we have all this diversity, and we're all Americans, and this war going on, and all this thing about the money, and we care about these kids, but I see it's a personal problem because I know that Mike Morath, when he came to Hernandez, and we showed him why the school shouldn't be closed down, he said it was all or nothing. So our school got shut down for nothing. So we right here right now. I'm gonna make it short. I don't think that this is just about what y'all talking about. Our kids is growing up dumb because they're not going to be able to learn because of all this distraction. Whoever made the home rule come up, they need to go with. I understand he ain't even from Dallas. Let him go wherever he come from and do home rule over there.
Thank you.
Well, my message is I hope y'all can quit playing these kids, actually little kids, first pre-K and whatnot. They need people to do their jobs real and not be trying to undermine the process. Mike Miles, I had a problem with him firing the teachers and all that there, and he's still here.
I think we heard you loud and clear and appreciate your speaking up.
Is anything going to be done?
We're listening, and we got to figure that out. But we appreciate what you said. It's on record, and it's well noted. So anyone else like to speak? Yeah, I think there's someone who wants to speak right there. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Kay Hunter, and I'm a retired administrator from DISD. I also am associated with and represent our SAGE group of women and men who are also retirees. And I would like to simply say that this group, along with myself, are in opposition to the Home Rule School District Charter. Many people have said many things that are applicable to the opposition. And I would just like to say that it is our feeling that we can do whatever we need to do within the current structure of the DISD. We would like to see some things shored up, and I think that can be done, such as teachers who are interested in the children that they teach, more staff development for teachers as well as principals, greater respect for parents when they come to the school. We simply need to shore up what we have in place and educate our children, and most especially African American children, because we see a lot of things that are going on within the district, and I'm not sure that a home rule charter will fix that. So we would like to say that we are in opposition of the home rule charter school district. Thank you.
Before we go, are there comment cards for questions? Mr. Harris out front, does the audience know where to get them? Have they been distributed? Yes? Okay, so one way to get questions answered, I'm going to get to, just give me a moment. You just raised the point I hadn't made, is that their comment cards, questions can be written. If you will submit them, we're going to try to answer them, post them online. This was a listening meeting. We want to hear your questions. We're not going to try to answer them. We're not trying to be evasive. We want them on record. We have been told that one way to do this well is to make sure you get a chance to put it in writing with your contact information so we can get back to you. Because in a large meeting like that, it's hard to answer specifically. Two, we're going to try to stay, once everyone's done asking their public question, and just have an opportunity to have one-on-one. So that's the format that seems to have worked well. Mr. Harris, would you just raise your hand if you don't have a card? He can help you. Our next full commission meeting, the formal meeting, is Monday, this Monday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. The agenda's been posted. We've had many requests from organized groups in the community who want to speak. We're going to be working on how to hear those groups, from teachers groups, administrators. The NAACP has submitted a request, and hopefully at our meeting Monday, we'll be organized at the end of it to actually be able to offer invitations, that is, set a date so that people can come. What we're going to ask is people put their their comments in writing. So again, we develop a full, not only a court reported session like this, but your written comments, your proposals, your ideas about curriculum, whatever.